Hi guys, and welcome back to Momentum Podcast. I'm your host Medina. I've missed you guys, all of my 5 viewers. And so today I just wanted to come here really light and excited because I have been binge watching Love Island USA and I had my own take on it. I've been seeing all the TikToks and I've just wanted to spin it a little bit and give it a little bit of a healthier outlook. So today we're going to discuss the positives and negatives of Love Island being a social experiment. We're going to be talking about what I've learned regarding Love Island and what it is to truly love on Love Island. And yeah, let's get into it. So this is my first time watching Love Island USA. I feel like the very first time I watched Love Island UK was back in uni. I think I went season 1 and 2 and then it got super popular and I kind of fell off it. I don't know why, but I have. And I've kind of just watched clips here on TikTok and things like that from them times. But yeah, my friend was like, okay, we need to watch Love Island USA because it's lit, the drama's on 100 and there's just amazing representation, if I'm being honest. Like the black girls get loved on and that's what I'm here to see, to be honest. So yeah, I wanted to start off with the definition of a social experiment, because we need to remember that Love Island is a social experiment. Like it's all fun and games and entertainment, but they're really lab rats. So what I'm going to be flicking through my notes. So the definition of a social experiment is a research method used in social sciences to study how people behave in response to specific situations or events, in this case, reality TV. And so obviously we are watching people's natural humanistic behaviors just in a really constrained and focused environment. And we are literally just judging them for our own kikis. And so obviously it's fun to watch, but I wanted to dive into the more interesting part to me. And so I'm going to go through the positives one by one. I've got 3 positives. So I've put Firstly, you get to see in real time people's growth and their actions. For example, we see Huda acted like she was crashing out right at the beginning of Jeremiah. I feel like they went into it very, very intensely. It's immediately love. And it's been one day. Let's all chill out. Let's all relax. And so I feel like this aspect of her reflecting on that and seeing, okay, people didn't like that. I didn't like the way it made me feel. And the person that's actually been affected has been dropped from the villa. And I feel like she took that and she changed it up with Chris. I saw her becoming really, really responsible, really accountable as well with the whole Shelly situation and how she moved with Ace and how she was grinding up on him like there was no tomorrow. And it's like, babes, if you're the girl's girl that you say you are, then you should be doing that on your friend's man. Now, I'll hold, because Shelly, I wasn't impressed with her either, because you've let go of the 6'8" man because you wanted to go with Ace. Let me pause. She wanted to have her cake and eat it too. She wanted to be desired. And I don't really like that either, Shelly, because I get her whole point about Huda not being a girl's girl, because when it came to her and Jeremiah, it was like, no one can touch my man. But then again, Chris isn't your man. Do you get what I mean? So it's in that scenario, I leant more towards Huda taking accountability and responsibility and saying, you know what, I shouldn't have done that. But then I felt like Shelly dragged it a bit because, again, Chris was not your man. And, well, so yeah, I feel like that's my point when it comes to Huda. She's taken, you can see the journey of her growing from her first real connection to her now actually being scared of messing things up with Chris and being okay, what do I need to change? And reflecting. And when they do their diary entries, you can see she's oh, I messed this up, I don't know if I messed this up. And it's she cares so much more. In the latest episode, she's kind of done things a bit weird. I kind of side-eyed what she did with the whole I'm not going to kiss you outside here with everybody else, but I want to do the most in the bedroom with Chris. I didn't get that, but that's neither here nor there. Her growth has improved in terms of her behavior. And so that's one positive. We get to see the growth of a person. The second positive I want to touch on is that on Love Island, the more vulnerable you are, the quicker it seems you get your connection. And I feel like the best person to describe this is Amaya. I want to say that my favorite example of this is Clark and Taylor. I think they showed that their emotional connection, even though it did come quite quickly, it has been it has been kind of growing over time, and the intensity has grown over time as well. It wasn't an immediate, it was like, okay, I'm getting to know you, I've gotten to know you, I'm getting to know you more, and I really like the way this is going. And I feel like they were both quite vulnerable with what they wanted with each other, and they've expressed it really well to one another. They're just on the right page. And that, in that case, I think for me personally, Taylor and Clark are my winners. I know they're out now because I just watched the latest episode and I hated it, and they're out, but they were and have been my winners, even though it's very unpopular and the whole entire internet hates them. But I'll get into why they hate them. So yeah, I feel like Amaya's vulnerability, back to the fact that Love Island allows you to showcase your vulnerability because you don't get the distractions of the outside world. You don't have to go to work. You don't have to meet up with family. You don't have to meet up with friends. You don't have the distractions of the internet and technology. You literally have each other face to face, 24/7. There's no running. And I think that is what I've taken from it, is that if we all had the opportunity with our respective like lovers, we would find it incredibly hard. And I feel like even in my case, I've been tested in that as well. And being in a constrained and focused environment with the person you love and not having like anything to distract you causes you to like really have a mirror up. And it's hard to watch yourself like being challenged. It's hard to see your errors, and it's hard to be like constantly accountable. And I feel like in this show, it calls for that, because we nitpick as viewers everything that's going wrong with the people. And so yeah, I think it's actually a positive that the more vulnerable you are, the quicker the connection is. The third positive thing I noticed is that Love Island kind of exposes you to ways that people like to be loved, the different ways that people like to be loved. And the example I've put in down is that in the case of Shelley and Chris, Shelley really wanted consistency from Chris, and she didn't get that, as resulting in their technical breakup. And so we can see even with Ace loves to be appreciated. And so when Shelley's chosen to go the extra mile, and plan them small dates and like tell him how grateful she is for him, you can see the visceral reaction and the joy that comes from him. And you can see that his love language must be words of affirmation, because that guy loves it. And like, even with, this is more of a negative than positive, but even with like Amaya, how she displays her love for giving physical touch and receiving physical touch, you can see that it didn't rub well with like Austin, Ace, or Zach necessarily. But like, as soon as she met with Brian, he's loving it. He's like eating it all up. And like, there's such a great match when it comes to that physical touch element. And even as viewers, we get to reflect and see like, what are we comfortable with? Like, what do we find safety in? What do we crave in terms of like love, and how we like to be loved as well? And what I've written for me, I said that like, my love language is physical touch and quality time. Those are my top two. And I feel like if I'm really, really into you, I cannot stop holding your hand, hugging you, smelling you. That's a really weird one. But like, I just want to be right next to you. And I feel like I've noticed, even, I don't really do that with family. I love doing that with friends, but like different, in a space of like romance, which is what we're talking about, I can see that like, when you do find your person, which you can see with Taylor and Clark even, Taylor was not affectionate at all with Alandria when he was with her. He literally hated her guts. But everyone stays trying to hold them two together for whatever reason. But yeah, like, you can see that he's all over Clark. You can see like, he keeps repeating, she's giving me this feeling, I just can't stop being around her, like I want to be close with her. That is when you literally connect with someone so emotionally, and that it just reflects in your physical being, if your love language is physical touch. So I can definitely relate to Amaya, Taylor, and anyone else that's walked in that's actually like, their love language is physical touch. So yes, that is all my positives I wanted to discuss. Now on to the negatives. This is very unpopular, but I feel Love Island can come across as very performative. And I've seen it with this particular couple that everybody stands for, everybody loves. I don't know why. I literally do not know why. I've probably missed an episode or something. I missed something, but I don't get the fascination over Nick and Alandria. I think it's very performative what they're doing. I think they're trying to get to the final. I do not think it's a coincidence that they literally missed each other for the 5 to 6 weeks that we watched them on our screens. And now all of a sudden they want to get together, say that it's the perfect time and it's meant to be and it's been right in front of me. And no, the producers ate up what the internet was saying and they pushed the agenda of the fans. And that's literally what's happened. And just to like add to that, Sierra having to leave is the icing on the cake, if I'm being honest. Like, I'm all for holding people accountable. I'm all for making sure people know what they've done is wrong and rectifying it. But like, let's be real, a lot of the internet has said they didn't even know that was a racial slur. I personally didn't know, but that's not an excuse. What I think I find difficult is seeing people bash her, death threats, wanting to ruin her entire career. Like, you can genuinely see when someone is a bigot, someone's prejudiced, someone is just an awful human being. I think genuinely she's made a mistake, and I hope to God she comes out with a statement and an apology and holds herself accountable. But the dragging that Sierra's got is all because of the fans that want Nicandria, or whatever it is, Nick and Alandria, to get together, when it's really just forced. And I feel like that element of Love Island I don't really like. And we even saw it literally on episode 30. Like, we saw it as soon as it came to Amaya having to pick between 3 guys. It was, oh, Amaya's been the one for me all this time. It was, oh, Amaya, papaya, between Brian, Zach, and Elan. And it's like, guys, Elan, you loved off Sierra, please. Zach, you don't really like Amaya like that. Like, she's cool, but you don't really like her. And Brian, at least he's with her now, but I don't know for how long, personally. So they all wanted to stay, and luckily Brian was able to stay, but I do feel like there's an element of performative behaviour, and yeah, I can't back that. So I don't agree with that. The second negative I would say about Love Island is that you don't really get the opportunity to see, as viewers, people addressing their trauma. I think what I've seen is right at the end of it now, because we're coming up like the end of this is the last week, and we've seen people opening up, especially Ace, Shelley. We've seen people like slowly uncover that, but I don't know if they're talking about it and it's just not being shown. But there's rejection and abandonment issues when it comes to Ace. You could see, like, when Shelley wasn't making up her mind regarding whether she wanted Ace or Chris, you could see literally when Ace is giving his diary entries that it's like, what more can I do? Like, it's just not enough. I don't know why she just doesn't want to like be with me and close things off with me, and I'm not going to push her. And it's like, he felt a lot of rejection in that moment. He felt like he's doing the most for this girl. He's questioning whether it's even right to do the most, because at this point she's not valuing it. And like, there's elements of abandonment there, because we all know Ace has a huge family and he's got multiple brothers and sisters, and it's like, in that, if you're like one of the last borns or second to last borns, you can be left behind. You can be put to this back burner and like then like trying to find your way through life. And we've seen even like Shelley talk about in the past her family having to like go into shelters and not having enough like to eat or things like that. Like, you can see that they've had harder times, and I don't know if the producers kind of removed the aspect of it because it's not entertaining, it's sad and it's boring. But that's the stuff I really like to watch, if I'm being honest. Like, back to the vulnerability point, like, the more we see them being vulnerable, the more they even become likable, because then we see ourselves in them. We see like that they're just humans. There's a sense of just like a togetherness, because at the end of the day, all people want when it comes to like being loved is to be seen, is to be heard, and is to be understood. And so when we see people break down and like show their more vulnerable side and they express like their traumas, it comes across as really authentic to me. And I think that's where they build the most vulnerability. And so like, yeah, I think we don't really get to see that side, but when we do, it makes us like the character, because right at the beginning, I did not like Ace. I thought Ace was a lunatic. I thought he had an obsession with Jeremiah. But I think there's an aspect of Ace there, well, his behavior there towards Jeremiah, that was triggered by Huda's response to Jeremiah, because he saw the whole Jeremiah and Huda situation completely different from the viewers, and even different from the actual castmates. But no one wanted to stand up and be on business. Like, they just wanted to be like, yeah, Ace, yeah. You right, you the big dog. And it's like, no, bro. He's clearly seen something in Huda's behavior that's triggered him to make him think that Jeremiah is love bombing Huda, which wasn't true. So yes, those are the negatives that I've noticed. There's many more that I would like to touch on, but those are what I can see for now. What I wanted to talk about was what I learned from Love Island USA season 7, and what it's taught me. The first thing it's taught me was, or has been, that I have a fear, or currently have a fear of being loved. And I feel like the person that expresses this the most is Huda. We can see that she's been hurt before. She's a single mom, and she's quite, right at the beginning, she was quite scared to tell people. But once she did, it was like, oh, hi guys, I'm a single mom. And it's like, okay, cool. Like, once she was able to show her kind of like more challenging side, one would say, then she was able to continually be vulnerable. But I think there's an aspect of her that, like, she's connected with Chris so well, because he's been like, straight up, I don't judge you for being a mum. You know, like, he likes it. He likes that she's a mum. He doesn't see her and look at her any different. And so she's felt comfortable with him. And that's probably why it's been relaxing for as much as it has been with them two. Yeah, I feel like the acknowledgement of being scared of being loved is very real, because if you've been hurt over time, you're just like, okay, here we go again. Like, I'm putting myself in the line, and I don't know what's going to happen. And I might be, you know, burnt again. And can I afford to be burnt again? And all these thoughts go through your mind, and you kind of start questioning your worth. Like, you can see even with people like Alandria, who, correct me if I'm wrong, she still doesn't get why Taylor didn't pick her. She's still like, why would you go with her? Why not me? And as such a strong personality and independent woman and the eldest daughter that she is, she doesn't like the idea of someone questioning her greatness, even when she did the most and she's tried her hardest to be the best candidate for Taylor. And so, like, you can see that the fear of being loved or not loved is very much present in Love Island, but it's very much present in the real world as well. Like, once the cameras are off, everybody feels like, does this person really like me? I'm sure they're up in their beds like, oh, like, does this person actually love me? Or do they really like me? And we have those thoughts anyway, naturally, as humans. Like, are we going to be enough for this person? And so I can definitely relate to that. And I can see that no matter on TV or off TV, it's relatable. And you can even see with, what's her name, Amaya, that she got tested a lot of times when it came to whether the guys saw her worth or not. Like, a lot of the guys felt that she was too much. A lot of the guys felt that how she was loving was too much. And that can also make you question, like, am I lovable? Am I worthy of love? And I think what she did very well, which I think I really like to acknowledge, is that as much as those questions may have probably been going through her mind, she did not show that on camera. She was like, someone's gonna love me. If I'm not your cup of tea, don't drink it. Like, she was down with the one-liners, and like, she just knew like someone is gonna love her for all her emotional crybaby ways. And so, like, that's what it's taught me, that as much as you can fear to be loved, you can also accept and acknowledge that, like, I am lovable in my full, entire, authentic self. And that's what I really like want to honor when it comes to Amaya's behavior on the show. Like, she was 100% her full self. I thought she was a lot sometimes, but like, as a friend, if she was my friend, I would love her because she's so confident, she's so assured of herself. But as a person, if I was in a relationship with her, I think I would find her a lot. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. Like, another thing that I feel like Love Island taught me about love was that, again, like, being your authentic self wins. I think the people's champ has been Amaya from like I want to say episode like 15 or something, like right from the beginning. People have loved her for her authenticity. And I think sometimes when we watch these reality TV shows, we don't get to see that. We kind of just see like the glam and the glitz, and we don't see someone being authentically hard to be around and to watch and still to be themselves. And I think I really like that. And yeah, I think it's taught me that the best way to be loved is to be completely yourself. As hard and as it's challenging as it is, sorry, it wins every time, because now you know that the person that's right in front of you really loves you for you, and not just a version of you that is prim and proper and, you know, says all the right things. The version of you that sucks a little bit, that's a bit of a crybaby, that's a bit whiny, that's a bit like combative, that's the version of you that they still love and care about. And I think that's what everyone wants to be. That's what everyone wants anyway. And I've seen that even with me, like the more I've unlayered myself in my own relationship, the more I'm like, oh, I'm starting to feel safe. I'm starting to feel comfortable. I'm starting to feel happier, like, because there's nothing to hide. And like back to what I said at the beginning, the positives is that there's nothing to hide. Like you can't run away from who you are. When you're surveillance for 24 hours a day, even though they only show us an hour clip, like the other people are still watching how you are. The castmates are still seeing who you truly are. And like, I feel like you can't hide. And again, your authentic self will be seen. And just to put a note on that, I think one thing I've struggled with is I was so for the black women in the show, but Alandria has let me down heavily, because her authentic self came out as well. And it just came out as a bit, the words I want to use is condescending. She came across as very put together. I've got my ish together. Even when she was kicked out, like the first time, she's like, strong is all I've ever had to be. And I was like, yes, girl, like, exactly. Like, as the eldest daughter, I can relate. But then it comes to a point where it's like, okay, babe, like, we hear that you're strong and independent, but like, let us see like the real vulnerable side to you. And we don't really get that part of her. We just get this bitter kind of like nastier side that I just don't wish for my homegirl, because she is gorgeous. She is stunning and she deserves all the love that she should get. But like that aspect of her authentic self was a bit jarring to watch. The third thing that I would say that I learned from Love Island USA is that emotional slowness is better than emotional intensity. And I think what we've seen over the last couple of weeks is that people have been looking for the spark, the spark, the spark. I need the spark. And it's like, okay, once the spark comes, what happens next? Because we saw it with Andrina and Brian. We saw it even with Pepe and Hannah. Like, we've seen it with people just up and leaving each other left, right, and center because the spark has died after 2-3 days, or they've been kicked out, and the next minute you know, they're with another person. Like, the body's not even cold yet, and you're literally, like, in bed with someone else. And so I am a big advocate for people looking at the actions of someone's behavior, not just their words, looking at how someone treats you over a consistent amount of time. And I get in Love Island, they only have like 6 weeks, but like you can see if you're with someone 24 hours a day, you can see like their behavior consistently. And you can see like if they're choosing you, you can see if it's getting emotionally more intense, or it's slowly getting to a place where I'm really liking this. I'm liking the pace that it's going. Now, slow and steady isn't for everybody, but I do think it wins the race. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. The fourth lesson that I've seen when it comes to learning about love on Love Island is that the small acts of openness, what I like to call the daily deposits, are really important. And they really, really build connections with your lover, with the person that you are interested in. And like, even in my relationship, I've seen like how daily when my boyfriend tells me like, oh, babe, this is something I like, or babe, this is what I would like you to do, or babe, like, could you change this aspect of you, like, or change how you behave or respond to this? I'm like, okay, cool, bet. Like, and the next time I actually physically change my behavior, it's not 100% perfect, but I will remember on that day that, oh, I did this to make him happy, or I, went out of my way to do this to make him happy. And you can see over time the connection grows because you're making them small increments of daily deposits, and it just works. Like, and that's why I said, back to my previous point, the slow and steady wins the race. Like, I don't know how else to tell you. It's just like, even with like the castmates, like those that spoke about their childhood, their living situations, like those that spoke about life outside the villa, like you can see that they are working towards like wanting to progress, and not just what it is right there in that moment. Like, and so I think daily deposits really matter. Last but not least, I wanted to say Love Island taught me about love, regarding, this one's not actually about Love Island. This one's my personal one. Last but not least, what I've learned about love, which isn't in relation to Love Island, but it is a really major one, is let God be the author of your love story, please. Like, he has the best interest for you, and like, he knows you inside and out. He knows exactly what you desire, not just what you want right now, but what you want next year, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. He knows your thoughts from afar. He literally knows you're lying down and you're getting up. He knows you. This is all scripture. The scripture that stands out to me the most, and I've written it down, is, do you see someone who speaks in haste? And it's like a question mark. There is more hope for a fool than for them. And this is in Proverbs 29:20. And to me, that tells me that there's lots of people that are going to speak to you, speak nothing. There's lots of people that are going to talk to you in ways that appease you. But those are just words. And at the end of the day, you're foolish yourself to be believing them. And like, to me, words don't really mean anything unless they're backed by consistent action. And I call myself out on that as well. Not just the person that you're with, but yourself. Call it out in yourself. And so, yeah, that's what I've learned. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Momentum Podcast. Again, my winners are Taylor and Clark, hands down. They were my favorite contestants, and I hope they have a fruitful and loving relationship outside the villa. And yes, I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much.